Welcome back to another episode of the CyberVault. Today I'm very excited to be joined by Jennifer Leggio. Jen is the SVP of Marketing and Revenue Operations at QuSecure. And Jen has a very long history in cybersecurity leadership and is now helping drive QSecure's mission to secure the future with quantum resilient cybersecurity solutions. In this episode, we're going to talk about QSecure's new product launch, how the company is shaping the market for post-quantum security, and why their work is making such a positive impact on the industry. But before we unpack all of that, Jen, it is a pleasure to have you here with me today. Why don't we maybe kickstart and you can introduce yourself in a little bit more detail?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and to chat about all that and chat with you. So I'm Jen. Yes, I have been in cybersecurity now for going on 26 years, on the marketing side. Started in PR and worked my way up through the different marketing journeys to where I'm at now, with a little stint as a COO, but that didn't really fit me. I loved marketing, and so I went back to that. But I've been fortunate to work with some amazing innovators. I was one of the early employees of Fortinet. We were less than 100 people. And a lot of people were like, "Forti who?" at that time when I joined, and I think we showed them. And then I was part of. I was the vice president of comms and corporate marketing for a company called SourceFire that back in 2013 Cisco bought for $2.7 billion. It was a $200 million company. So that was a lot of fun. And I've worked with OT companies like Clarity, Threat Intel like Flashpoint, all over the place, just because I love security and love different techs. And more than that, I've gotten very involved in the community. I used to run the security bloggers meetup for like reporters, analysts, and such with my friends Alan Schimmel and Rich Mogul and Mike Rothman. And I've had the honor of speaking at DEF CON and RSA, and Gartner Security Summit, and some invite-only hacker conferences. So a lot of my friends are in security, so I pretty much live and breathe security at this point.
No, and you literally, I feel like you just casually like name drop some pretty well-known businesses there. It's like, I mean, Fortinet obviously being a big one, you absolutely did show them. And I think kind of, it's exciting because you've found a new home in QSecure, and we're going to unpack today what is so exciting about kind of, what's happening over here, and ultimately what made you want to call it home after you've been able to get involved with so many exciting businesses. But let's kickstart with, because for any listeners who might not know QSecure, I think it'd be really good to give them a quick overview. I mean, could you tell us a little bit more about kind of what QSecure are solving and kind of, a little, well, I suppose just a bit more about them?
Sure. So QSecure, I actually started working with them as a consultant, a fractional consultant, before I joined full time, and it's QuSecure. Always need to say that. So what we specialize in is post-quantum cryptography and crypto agility. And the importance of that is we know that, just Q-Day, as some call it, the quantum computers, quantum power, IBM's announced they'll have one in 2029. I'm sure there's lots of other things happening that aren't being announced. And when that quantum computing is in the hands of so many people, especially the adversary, a lot of modern day encryption is rendered useless. And so companies need to start their migration, because we don't know for sure when that's coming, but mandates for it keep getting sooner and sooner. So QSecure has come up with an amazing technology and approach to helping companies with the readiness and with actually doing the post-quantum migration, and then making sure that they stay up to date and in compliance with their encryption. And I'd say that's the most, I'm a marketer, so that's the most basic level. If I were the CTO, it would probably come out a lot different, but that's and the thing about it to me is cool is that, it's a problem that hasn't happened yet, but it is inevitably going to happen. So to be able to get ahead of something like this after being in security for so long is really cool.
Yeah. And I think I actually think it's better that you broke it down the way that you did, because I think quantum computing can be a really overwhelming concept to a lot of people. I don't think it really matters how technical you are, unless you're within that very specific vertical. It is really overwhelming, and I think kind of more so quantum threats can feel so abstract to some, because like you just mentioned there, right, it might not be an immediate need in terms of this might not be a threat landscape that you're facing right now, but it's so unpredictable. We don't know how much how close we are to that, and to having, you don't want to be behind. You don't want to suddenly kind of be like, oh, we haven't protected anything because we just thought it was 5, 10, 15 years away, when in reality it's on the doorstep. You can't predict the future. I mean, to kind of break into that a bit more, because like I say, I think it probably does feel so far stretched for some people, but why should organizations really start thinking about quantum resilient security today and not later?
So I have two answers to that question, if that's okay. And one focuses on, the government, Department of Defense, et cetera. Those folks, defense contractors, are a little bit more ahead of the game because they kind of have to be, with executive orders coming out of the White House. NIST CNSA 2.0, they're requiring, quantum readiness by January 1, 2027, which is really end of next year. And so, what was that?
That's terrifying, really, how close that is.
Right. And because we don't know, and they only have things like nuclear codes and stuff like that, so there's that part of it. There are a lot of, and there are mandates coming out in in other areas too. There's some new laws in conversation that haven't come into effect yet, but we're watching those closely. There are a lot of other like Five Eyes nations that have very, very accelerated. I think Australia has the most accelerated demands on quantum readiness. So that's kind of the one side of it. The other side of it is really thinking about it like a security practitioner. And the thing is that through a lot of companies, especially larger organizations and even mid-sized organizations, they go through a lot of different security leadership. We know that CISO and head of security, whatever it's called in an org, is a really high pressure, high risk job. So there's a lot of churn in that. And they inherit a lot of different security stacks, tech stacks, et cetera. Rarely does a new person come in and say, okay, let me analyze that encryption too, right? Because it's so in the weeds to them. It's like, are we safe? Okay. Or M&A for large organizations and what they've gotten, when they do technical diligence. I've never seen that looked into. And you don't know what you don't know. And I remember when I was at SourceFire, Marty Resch always used to say, you can't protect what you can't see. Yeah. And adversaries have proven to be doing, and Gartner just released something where they talked about this yesterday, harvest now, decrypt later.
Yeah.
Or they're ransoming encrypted data for this, or they are holding on to encrypted data from previous breaches that they're just waiting to get their dirty little hands on this stuff. So it's not like, okay, well, let's get our stuff together and make sure that we're shored up against anybody who wants to get our stuff. They have it. If you've ever been breached, which most people have been, they have it. So that's another reason to take it seriously. And I'm very anti-FUD, and that's part of my profile. But this is real. This isn't fear. It's real, and it's something that security practitioners need to think about, and it's something that CEOs and even boards need to think about from a company, brand, financial risk, compliance perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And because I think you really hit the nail on the head there when you kind of went down the, you don't know what you don't know. And I think also at the same time, when something's not there on your constant radar, for example, if you have a data breach, but your data was encrypted, you kind of just thinking, oh, right, okay, it's okay. We put out the fires, we solved the problem. It's in the past. Not necessarily thinking that it can come back to bite you again, because you're not forward thinking about these kind of, different threat vectors that are going to, like we've already said, going to be inevitable in the future. It's just a case of when, and if it's not there on your radar, it's so easy to just forget about that. It's which is also scary if you put it in context, really.
Well, think about, like, we've all gotten those letters from whomever that have said, we had to disclose to you that we were breached, and your information that included blah, blah, blah was included in this. Rest assured it was encrypted.
Yeah.
Right? And I used to be like, well, that's good. And now I'm sitting here like, oh.
Now, like,
it's scary working here learning all this stuff.
I think, but that's the real reality. And I think, kind of just put it simply, the scary reality that when you're, we can always talk about how much cybersecurity is evolving, because there's all this new technology that's constantly coming in, and it's such an exciting space to be in for that exact reason. But I think that's also what makes it really intimidating. I mean, obviously, you've actually mentioned an unbelievable portfolio of companies that you've supported in kind of, terms of their go-to-market and their marketing strategies and so on. So, I mean, you've obviously seen a lot of cybersecurity innovation across your career. I mean, is there something that stands out to you about the way that QuSecure are approaching kind of the problem solving side of things, and what they're kind of bringing to market, especially when, they're kind of on that forefront of innovation, rather than, people are necessarily recognizing that it's a risk yet?
They're absolutely on the forefront of innovation, but it's bigger than that for me. It's more personal to me. So before I joined QuSecure, like I mentioned, I was helping them fractionally in a marketing capacity, because I'd been working part-time for an agency for a bit, because after my COO stint, after I resigned from that, I was like, who am I? What color is my parachute? What do I want to do? But that gave me a chance to work with friends and work with the different clients and help them in different capacities. And then I was introduced to QuSecure. They came on as a client. I fell in love, and I asked them to come work for them. And I never thought I'd go back in-house, but a lot of it was the ethos of the founder and CEO, Rebecca Krauthammer, and all the executive team, even up to the board members. And the way that they're approaching this problem, which I don't want to steal the news from later, but the way they're approaching this problem in a way where they're really leaning into helping people in a way that, really just helps people do some of the most important things now, for very little or nothing. Yeah, that's me trying not to steal my own thunder, but to have values and ethos to care so much about solving the problem, that you're willing to give it away or give part of it away. That's bold, man. Like, I gotta work with these people, because my whole thing, people don't always see this on the marketing side, even though there's a lot of us that feel this way. Like, I care about solving the problem in the end. My skill set just happens to be on this side of the fence.
Yeah. I tell you what, let's go for it, because I feel like the anticipation is probably built, and today has been a very exciting day. It's been something that's been in the works, obviously, for a while, and you guys have launched a new product. Talk to us about it. Tell us about it. Unpack. Let's get the exciting part through, because I think what you guys are up to not only defines the ethos of the company, as you said there. I think it really shows the value add piece of really trying to drive why this is important, and allowing people that opportunity to really see it for themselves.
Yeah. So today, and again, in my account for my tiredness, I'm very excited that we have brought to market officially QProtect R3, which is our newest platform, and it's the industry's first fully integrated PQC in production platform. And it has 3 modules. I've talked about a lot of the different parts of PQC. It has 3 modules: reconnaissance, which is the discovery and inventory, where people can look into, they can use that to discover what our CTO, Garrison Kempas, calls cryptographic debt, is what he calls all that unknown encryption, unknown algorithms, etc. And that's what we're giving away for free. We're giving that module away for free, so people can do their inventory and know what they're dealing with. And then there's the resilience module, which helps with remediation, the full post-quantum migration, and so on, everything that's involved in that, and the quantum readiness and shoring them up for potential future attacks, integrations with other technologies, partnerships we have, and so forth. And then there's reporting, which is the last R in the R3, which is really, really critical, especially for some industries around like the compliance portion of this. It's very clear on where they stand in their quantum readiness now, prior to Q Day, and even after the fact. But that ties back to, I'm really excited that it was a lot of work. Our engineering team was fabulous, and then of course, you know, the marketing team, marketing and sales teams. You know, it's like it's a whole team effort. But I'm excited about it. I think it's going to change the market. I think it's going to change the way people look at it, and I think by offering reconnaissance for free, that goes back to those ethos and values. I was contracting when they were having these conversations about decisions, so I wasn't really in them since I wasn't on the executive team yet. But hearing those conversations, and I was like, this is the right thing to do. Save people money. Like people have to create cryptographic, I work there, I can't even say it, cryptographic bills of materials, especially defense contractors and so on, by end of next year. And it costs millions. And when they try to do it themselves, they can't do it. Let's just help them do it. And that to me went, wow, amazing innovation, amazing team, really want to help. Let's do this. So that's all available. That's all out today. And if you look it up on our brand new website, you'll see all the information there, as well as the opportunity to sign up for the free recon.
Awesome. And I think, you know, it's exciting. When you've been working behind the scenes to make something like this happen for such a long time, it's you know, what an unbelievable feeling to have it out there and have people getting access to it. But I couldn't agree more. Being able to allow people to really, and I think sometimes it's the education piece of a lot of things in cyber cost a lot of money, and that can often kind of put people off trying new technologies and trying new things and getting exposed to you know, things like this where they're kind of like, oh, we don't have the cash to worry about tomorrow's problem when we haven't fixed yesterday's. Whereas this is helping with that. You're kind of saying, look, let us help you fix this problem that's going to be coming on the horizon pretty quickly. You can't really wait around for it longer. And then, you know, once you see what's kind of there, then let's talk about those next phases and when the time is right, let's absolutely go for it. And I'm so excited to see this take off for the team, because I think the hard work has got well-deserved repercussions of you know, people in the market being able to see the values that you guys really bring to the table. I mean, what's kind of next now? Because big day today. It's probably like the weight of the world is off the shoulders. But as with the startup world, that only lasts 24 hours, because then it's on to the next thing, right? So, I mean, where do you guys go from here?
Well, I would say that one of the things that we really focused on with this launch, one of the messages we're really trying to get out to the market, is that I think some people, whether it's companies or just individual perspectives, have made PQC sound very complex. Yeah. And it can be very simple. So people are like, well, it'll take you a good 12 months to create a C-bomb. It takes weeks, days, weeks, you know, to get that. And so I think talking more about the simplicity, making sure the market really understands. We have some great partnerships that are coming up that we'll be talking about later, and some expansion of the team, you know, to really address the market. And, you know, myself, I joined a month ago today, actually, officially. We hired our head of revenue, Gregory Donovan, who I absolutely love. It's for sales and marketing getting along. I know that's very rare, but he's great. Really putting a lot of energy into the go-to-market, building a security first channel program to really help force multiply and get the word out even further about what we're doing. I think those are the things I can talk about, you know, on broad strokes that we're doing. It's a really exciting time, but you're right. It's like what did you do for me lately the day after our launch? And you're like, and it's not that bad, right? It's more, for me, I put more pressure on myself. Rebecca, she's like, would you, she's like, you're sick. Will you please not work? You please not work on Saturday? And I'm like, I have to, it has to get done. But that's part of life,
Yeah, but that you honestly, it's the startup life though, right? That is literally the thing. If you didn't kind of, I think it's part of the fun of it. It's why people come back for more, because then suddenly you do what you did at Fortinet, and then suddenly you're a name in the space, and you go, well, now I've got to do it all over again, and then I need to go through that trial and tribulation of that roller coaster all over again. Because it's when you're reflecting on what you've done, that's the fun part. While you're in it, sometimes it's a little bit of a why am I doing this again? But it's always worth it. And honestly, I think kind of if anything's come from this episode, it's probably watch this space. I think, get involved, get connected with you guys. I couldn't recommend more, at least kind of giving a try. When somebody's giving you something out like you guys are, I mean, why wouldn't you at least kind of hear it out and kind of try and dive a bit deeper there? But really, really, just exciting times, I think, is just the simplest way to put it. And we've unpacked so much, and I know that there's so much more coming, and I'm sure we'll probably end up doing another episode not too far down the line, being like, well, look at all that's happened in this short space of time. But I mean, Jen, to close out, what I want to do is for any of the security leaders or security practitioners that have been listening, if there was one action they should take today can really help them start to prepare for quantum resilience, what would your advice be? What would be that kind of one action of, right, close off Spotify, YouTube, whatever you're listening in, and this is the first action you're going to take?
Honestly, it'd be easy for me to be like, sign up for free reconnaissance, but just open your mind to the fact that we don't know what we don't know, and you don't want to get caught unprepared for this. And again, not fun, not scary, because we know it's happening.
Yeah.
We just don't know when. So I've had a lot of people that have been like, oh, I'll think about that in 3 or 4 years. I'm like, okay, maybe reconsider that stance if that's your stance. That's what I would say. And it doesn't have to be our way. I mean, I believe, of course, it should be our way. But even if it's not our way, take it seriously.
Yeah. No, very, very valuable. And I think it's literally that famous old thing of like, don't wait until it's too late. Like, get ahead of it, educate yourself. There's, education is really what drives cybersecurity, but I think it's what drives the reduce of risk as well most of the time. But Jen, honestly, it's been unbelievable to have you on today. Congratulations with the launch. A huge and a very exciting time for you and the team. It's been great to obviously kind of get the definition around how QSecure is shaping the future of security within this launch as well. And honestly, it's just exciting to see innovation that's not just reacting to today's problems, but preparing for the industry's future's problems. So to our listeners, obviously, I couldn't recommend more reaching out to Jen and the team, find out a little bit more about what's been going on today and what these guys are going to be up to over the next several months. But honestly, that's it for today. So to our listeners, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to share this episode with your security peers. Get connected with us on LinkedIn, get connected with Jen and the team on LinkedIn. But thank you for tuning in. So I'll see you next time for more conversations that are shaping cyber.